Sagittarius, you won't believe who's been wishing for your death. Not a stranger, and not some cruel joke of fate, but a spirit that's been watching you for a long time and who does not want you to continue living as your true self. And the scariest part is, they're not doing this alone. Your spirit guides have been trying to warn you in every way they could. If you've been feeling a chill down your spine, if you've been having strange dreams lately, or barely avoided some accidents, then sit down, because what's about to happen is no longer a coincidence. Because sometimes you don't realize you're being watched only when everything falls apart. You start realizing it when you recall the smallest moments, when someone's eyes pause too long on you, when a dream keeps repeating itself, when you constantly feel someone's watching you from behind. Sagittarius, that's not your imagination. They've been following you for a long time, and now they're no longer hiding. Have you ever felt it? The weight of eyes behind you, but when you turned around, there was no one? Or on a perfectly normal morning, you step out the door, and suddenly your heart starts pounding, for no reason at all, as if something invisible was waiting around the next corner. Sagittarius, it's not in your head. You're being watched, and you've been watched for a very, very long time. They don't need to show up in the flesh to make you uneasy. Just a look, a sudden chill brushing through when every window is closed, or an old song playing in your car, right when your mind feels most empty. Who are they? And why? Why do they care about you this much? Maybe you're a typical Sagittarius. Strong, generous. You live with the belief that no matter how dark the world gets, you can still be a flame that never dies. And that makes you a target. Spirits of darkness, they don't go after the weak. They aim for those who shine, because light reveals the truth in them. Have you ever noticed that the person closest to you, the one you trusted the most, started pulling away, hurting you with their words, right when you began to grow? Why does that happen? Why can't they stand it when you start finding peace, clarity? Because behind them is a force that doesn't want you to awaken. And it's been watching you through their eyes, their voice, their behavior. How many times have you stood at the edge of an important decision only for something to suddenly stop you? A minor accident, a strange pain without reason, a phone call that left you shaken. You think it was random? It wasn't. That is how energy manipulation works. It doesn't break you all at once. It wears you down, little by little. Each thought, each restless night, each morning you wake up feeling exhausted, even though you got a full night's sleep. Sagittarius, you carry a natural light inside of you, a sacred flame not everyone can understand. And because of that, you're watched, not just by people, but by wandering spirits, by shadows that have drifted through your family line, through ancestral history, through karmic stories that were never resolved. Have you ever dreamed of someone you've never met, but they feel oddly familiar? Or visited a place for the first time and your soul trembled, as if it had already been there long ago? Those are signs, whispers, from memories you didn't bring with you, but they have brought you. You've been watched for a very long time, Sagittarius, but not to be destroyed, to be quietly erased. Are you truly living as yourself? Or are you simply surviving in a version of life someone else convinced you was yours? I know some of you listening right now may feel chills, because you're realizing you still can't explain why you felt lost for years, why you trusted someone blindly only to be drained, why certain people always leave you feeling empty, exhausted, confused. Sagittarius, this is not just a tarot reading. This is a spiritual warning, a message from your spirit guides, higher beings who have been trying to keep you anchored in the light. Once, a middle-aged woman shared something with me. I used to think I was just going through midlife stress until I started hearing someone whispering my name at 3 a.m. I'd wake up and feel someone sitting at the end of the bed, even though I live alone. She was a Sagittarius, and the moment she began meditating, praying, lighting candles each night, everything changed. Have you ever gone through something like that? If you have, leave a sign in the comments. Just a simple sentence, I've seen it, or they're watching me. Because you are not alone, and only when you dare to name the darkness can the light begin its work. But this is only the beginning, because the most dangerous truth is the one who wants your death isn't far away. They're close, familiar, and maybe they're pretending to love you. Take a deep breath, Sagittarius. In the next part, I'll tell you about the spirits that don't want you to awaken, and why the recent chaos in your life is not random at all, but part of a quiet war meant to suffocate the light inside you. Are you ready? You know, most people think the enemy always comes from outside, but for souls walking the path of spiritual awakening, like you, a Sagittarius in the midst of becoming, the most dangerous interference often comes from those you least expect. The moment you start seeing life differently, when you're no longer afraid, when you stop reacting with anger, when you begin choosing peace over conflict, you've entered a new level of consciousness. And that's when the energy control systems in the unseen world begin to notice you. There are spirits who don't need you to die in the physical sense. They just need you to stay asleep, to never remember who you truly are, to never ask again, what am I in this lifetime? Sagittarius, you were born with a fire inside of you. It makes you explore. It makes you question. It makes you challenge every limitation. And that is dangerous to the forces that want humans silent, compliant, and disconnected from their own souls. They don't want you to awaken. They want you to doubt yourself, to believe you're not worthy, to think everything is your fault. And worse, they want you to bow your head, accept what you're told, and never ask why. Have you ever felt that? A moment when you were strong, grounded, clear, and just one sentence from someone shook your entire foundation? You were in peace, and a single message, just a few words, sent you spiraling again? They don't need to scream. All they need to do is touch your deepest fear. No one truly loves you. You're not enough. You're making all of this up. You'll always fail. Where did those words come from? From someone else? Or from the whisper inside your own mind? Have you ever walked into a room where no one spoke, but your heart started racing? Your skin bristled, like the entire room was pushing against you in silence, or spoken with someone, and within minutes, you felt drained, anxious, unsettled, with no explanation? That is how energy manipulation works. It doesn't need words. It just needs to hit the frequency of fear within you, and suddenly you're doubting everything about yourself. Your spirit guides, the protectors in the invisible world, have been warning you, through dreams, through the subtle shaking in your chest, through strange coincidences, even through a tarot reading you stumbled upon, just like this one. Sagittarius, have you ever woken up at 3:33 a.m.? Or seen 111 or 444 repeating again and again on days when your soul felt the heaviest? Those aren't random numbers. They are signals from the other side, trying to pull you back to your soul's path. A woman once wrote to me. She was around 50, a Sagittarius too. She said every time she tried to leave a toxic relationship, small accidents happened in her home. Light bulbs exploding, a water leak, her cat suddenly disappearing. She thought they were bad omens. But when she meditated and asked for guidance, she received this message. It's not the universe holding you back. It's a dark entity keeping you frozen by feeding your fear. Have you ever felt held back like that? Just when you were about to do something good for yourself? Someone made you feel guilty for it? You're waking up, and that's exactly why you've become a target. How can you tell if you're under spiritual interference? You feel tired for no reason, even after eating well and sleeping enough. You feel anxious out of nowhere. Your heart races when entering certain places. Old, painful memories keep returning, as if someone is forcing you to relive them. And worse, you feel like you're no longer yourself. If you're going through any of this, leave a comment. Write, "I am awakening," or "They don't want me to remember." Say it out loud, not just for me, but for the spirits that protect you, so they know you're ready to step into the light. And maybe I should tell you something I've kept hidden for a long time. Once, I woke up in the middle of the night, and the lights in my room went out, even though I hadn't touched the switch. On the ceiling, I saw a soft, glowing patch of light moving slowly. I thought I was losing my mind. I trembled. I was scared. I thought it was a hallucination. But instead of running, I whispered, "Is someone protecting me?" The room stayed silent, but for the first time, my heart didn't feel alone. From that moment on, I was no longer the same person. I began listening. I began believing. And the dreams, they started answering me, night after night. Sagittarius, this is not just a mystical reading. This is a radio tarot reading sent from your soul, delivered to you through me. And if you've made it this far, it means your soul has already begun to rise. But be careful, when the light starts to shine bright, the darkness rises even stronger. Next, you'll discover the one who wants your death is not a stranger. They are very close. And maybe they're wearing the face of someone you once loved deeply. Sagittarius, I wish I could tell you that dark energy only comes from the outside. That if you just stay away from the wrong places and the wrong people, you'll be safe. But no, the truth is much harsher. The one hoping your light burns out, the one silently wishing you'd give up, the one who thinks to themselves, you'll never truly be happy, might be sleeping under the same roof, might be the one you once called your soulmate, might be a family member, might be the person you once loved with your whole heart. And the scariest part? They once loved you too. But love can turn into envy when someone doesn't know how to love themselves. When your light shines too clearly on the shadows they've tried to hide, your very presence becomes threatening. They flinch, they withdraw, they lash out. Have you ever heard someone say, I don't get why you're always so lucky? Or you think you're better than everyone else? Or worse, I just wish you'd disappear for a while so I could have some peace. It sounds casual, harmless even. But if you're someone with sensitive energy, if you're a Sagittarius on the path of soul awakening, you feel the chill behind those words. That isn't just language, it's energy. And energy never lies. The most dangerous curses don't come from dark rituals or some shadowy sorcerer. They come from the people we once loved, through words spoken carelessly but laced with hurt, jealousy, and quiet resentment. And then that energy clings to you like an invisible thread. You start to doubt yourself. You stop trusting your intuition. You begin to shrink, to pull away, to stop dreaming. You no longer feel connected to the spiritual world that once made you feel alive. Have you ever felt like that? Like your light was slowly dying? Sagittarius, they don't want you physically dead. They're not that cruel. But they want your silence. They want your hesitation. They want your surrender. They want you to stop believing in kindness. They want you to become like them, full of doubt, disillusionment, and bitterness. Because if you continue to shine, they will have to face a question they've been avoiding their whole lives. Why can't I live like you? And instead of learning from your light, they choose to destroy it. Under the disguise of concern, in the shadow of love. Through the kind of advice that sounds like, I'm just afraid you're dreaming too big. They don't want you to dream. Because if you dare to dream, you'll dare to act. And if you dare to act, you'll rise beyond them. And if you rise beyond them, they'll have no one left to compare to control, to keep beside them as a mirror reflecting their own powerlessness. Sagittarius, is there someone coming to mind? Someone who once made you laugh, but later made you lose faith in yourself? Someone who once felt safe, but eventually made you want to close off from the entire world? If your answer is yes, then you are right where you need to be. Because true awakening begins when you dare to look directly at the one who hurt you from the shadows. But what they didn't expect is that you are protected, not by a wall, but by spirits who walked this world long before you. Your spirit guides, whether you call them ancestors, God, the universe, or angels, they saw this attack before you did, and they've been sending signs to help you escape. Have you ever met a stranger who said something that woke you up? Watched a video that made you cry for reasons you couldn't explain? Passed by a cafe and suddenly remembered who you once dreamed of becoming? None of it was random. That was the universe pulling you out of the matrix, out of the invisible grip of people who once felt familiar, but no longer walk your path. If you're still here, if you're still listening, then you've been pulled back just in time. Don't go back. Don't try to heal those who don't want to be healed. Don't dim your light to hold on to those who've chosen the dark. Sagittarius, you are fire, and fire doesn't need permission to burn. Now I invite you to step into the next part, where we'll uncover. There are moments when you don't know why you're still alive. Not because you were reckless, not because you were lucky, but because someone no longer living in this world has been watching over your every step. Sagittarius, you might not remember them clearly anymore. Maybe it was a grandmother who used to hold you as you fell asleep. Maybe it was a father you now only see in old photographs. Or maybe a child who left this world too soon. But the souls who truly loved you never left you, even after their bodies faded. Have you ever heard a song repeating on the radio right when you were ready to give up? Ever sat alone and felt like someone gently placed a hand on your shoulder, or suddenly stopped before stepping into the street, just in time to avoid a speeding car, and you still don't know what made you pause? Let me tell you a story. A true story shared with me by a middle-aged woman, a Sagittarius. She said, "I was driving to work like every other day. It's a road I've driven for 15 years. But that morning, just as my car began to move, I heard a voice inside my head, clear and firm. Stop." I thought I was imagining it, but my heart pounded hard. So I hit the brakes, and just 2 seconds later, a runaway truck crossed into my lane, the one I drive in every single day. No honking, no warning, just the voice. And from that day on, I knew I was not walking this life alone. Sagittarius, I don't tell you this to scare you. I tell you this to remind you, you are being protected in ways logic cannot explain. Not every spirit wants to harm you. Some are quietly clearing your path, step by step, moment by moment. They are your spirit guides, your guardian angels, the loved ones who've passed on. They are part of you, woven into your bloodline, your light, your soul. Have you ever dreamed of someone who's gone and woke up feeling strangely at peace? Have you ever found an old photo just when you needed strength the most? Have you ever smelled a familiar perfume in an empty room? That's not coincidence. That's a sign from the invisible world, telling you you have never been abandoned. You are Sagittarius. You were born from the sacred fire of truth and freedom. But this path has never been easy. You're often misunderstood. You've been envied. You've walked alone, carrying wounds no one could see. But you have never truly been alone. Someone lit a candle on the nights you couldn't sleep. Someone whispered a prayer for you when you had forgotten how to pray. Someone laid a hand on your heart when you thought it was breaking beyond repair. And you know what? You can hear them too, if you begin to pay attention. Watch your dreams. Listen to the song that unexpectedly plays. Hold on to the photo that brings tears for no reason at all. That is the language of the soul. And when you start to feel it, you begin to receive it. Sagittarius, you have endured things most people couldn't imagine. You've been betrayed, you've been misunderstood, you've believed at times that no one was left for you. But in the silence, in the darkness, in the moments you almost broke, they were there. And maybe this video, these very words you're hearing right now, are a message from them, spoken through me. I am only the messenger, but the energy is theirs. And you know that. You can feel it. So if you've sensed their presence, whether through a flash of light, a sudden breeze, or the warmth in your chest, leave a single dot, or write this. Thank you. I know you're still with me. They are listening, they are reading. And sometimes, one gentle thank you is all it takes to rebuild the bridge between you and the other side. Now, I invite you to step into the final part of this journey. Sagittarius, if you've made it this far, it means your soul has been brave enough to face a truth most never dare to confront. The truth that you were hurt, you were watched, you were betrayed, and through it all, you felt like you had nothing left. But you're still here. You are still a flame that refuses to go out. You still carry within you the freedom of the soul, something no one can ever take away. The darkness may have made you tremble, but it never made you surrender. They wanted you to forget who you are, to shrink, to live in fear and doubt. But what they didn't expect is that you are not alone. You are protected by the souls who came before you, by the sparks of light within you, even the ones you haven't fully discovered yet. And today, I just want to say this to you. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You survived. And to survive with a heart that can still feel love, that is the greatest triumph of a soul. So don't go back. Don't cling to what pulled away with cold hands. Keep walking. Choose the light. Say to yourself, I am not just alive, I've been born again. If your heart touched something true while hearing these words, leave a comment, a thank you, a small symbol, even just a single dot. It's enough to tell the universe, I've received the message, I am ready. And if you believe someone out there needs to hear this too, share this video with them. because sometimes just one word, one small light, can save a soul from despair. To you, the Sagittarius soul who has always been brave, even in silence,